It's not a swap, but it's a transfer negotiation. There is an opportunity for Manchester United. More reports have come out on the Osimhen possibly coming the other way and a deal with Garnacho going to Napoli. All the updates on that from what happened this morning, what we spoke about. Garnacho's preference actually coming out into the open, and it's different from January to the summer. More talk about that. More updates on Marcus Rashford from Florian Plettenberg and Fabrizio Romano on that side of things as well. Talking Dorgu, updates on him and what really did go down at Old Trafford on Sunday. Ruben Amorim, if you haven't seen it already, hold on to your hats. Apparently, Ruben Amorim has gone full rage monster mode on the Manchester United players. We've all seen it on social media. If you haven't, we're going to talk about that and a little bit extra what I was told as well, which is pure gold. Stay tuned, everybody. That is coming in this show as well. And of course, we've got all of your live comments as well. Get your thoughts in on everything going on with the stories that we're talking about. Comment below if you're catching up later on as well. Try and keep it civil, everybody. I've seen some of your comments earlier on slagging me off, apparently driving my own agenda that Garnacho is leaving and people not dealing with facts. Look, I'm dealing with facts. Ruben Amorim, like I always say, you have to listen to the video maybe just to get a bit more context rather than reading the title, but that's what I'll always do. I'll bring in the facts and the context as well. But Ruben Amorim has said to all of these players, you're part of my squad. I will defend you to the end. Is that not what our manager said? Is that not what he said? I will defend you to the end. I will take the sack ahead of them players if they give me everything. I will not play a player that isn't right for this team. Remember them words? I think that's what Ruben said, not what I said. And certain players have been left out. So put two and two together. They're the facts. That's what's been said, and that's what we're dealing with. And the reports coming from Italy are saying that Manchester United have been offered Osimhen as part of this Garnacho deal. So let's get into this news and let's get cracking with everything that's going down with all of the speculation and rumour mill around this right now. We know what is happening. We know what is going to happen. So quickly to update on everything that is going down with this deal. So first of all, the story that has come out from El Mattino, it is a Italian source, obviously, like everything is at the moment around this Garnacho side of things. But we have reports coming in from Ben Jacobs as well. But they're saying specifically, and we did allude to this a little bit in the morning show as well, but more and more people have gone on this now, in that Napoli have informed Manchester United they can offer them a discount on Victor Osimhen's 63 million price if United cooperates with Garnacho on the Garnacho deal. Now, if Manchester United do not agree with Napoli in January for Garnacho, this is what's been said and reported from the Italy side of things, Napoli will go all in and get Dorgu, which is why Manchester United are over in Italy right now talking, according to the reports again, talking to obviously Lecce on Dorgu and Napoli on Garnacho. It does look like this is moving in a direction where United have to make something happen with Napoli if they want Dorgu. But then again, Dorgu is 100% certain on going to United, so I don't think we should worry too much or bow to Napoli's demands on this at all. Look, some people might not like Osimhen to come in. A lot of the fan base would prefer Gyökeres. I know this. But like we've said before, Manchester United right now are trying to steal a match on what is inevitably going to be a more difficult negotiation table in the summer. We talked about the PSR, Garnacho, him wanting to leave. He's open to offers. I don't think he's been pushed out by Manchester United at all. I said this before. Ruben Amorim wants him in his side. He's a player. He's used him. He started him 2 of the last 3 games. So he clearly wants him. He clearly wants to use him. He doesn't want to use Marcus Rashford. That's a different story. So when anyone says I'm trying to drive Garnacho out or United are trying to drive Garnacho out, no. It's just needs must. Because Ruben Amorim has said if any player is to leave, he wants replacements in. And obviously, with what was going on at Old Trafford after the game, which we're going to get into, kind of all leads to where we're at right now, who was involved in everything. I will talk about that soon. But as we stand with Garnacho and Osimhen right now, 63 million is the release for Osimhen. I think that will be cheaper in the summer anyway, because he's only got 1 more year left. So if they're looking to get 63 million, let's be honest, Victor Osimhen right now, when you look at what he's doing, when you look at how he's performing in Turkey, is his value going to actually get any more than that 63 million? That's what you've got to look at. So when you bring up Victor Osimhen, I'm just going to bring him up on my screen now in terms of his season so far and what's actually happening even in the Europa League and how he's performing, it's excellent. But in all competitions this season for Galatasaray, when we're talking about a player here with his value at 63 million, you can talk about the Turkish league and the quality of it. But he's done it in Italy. He's moved across 18 games, 14 goals, 6 assists. He's got 20 goal involvements in 20 games. It does stand out, doesn't it, as very, very good. And when you look at the actual value, 63 million, that Napoli are willing to negotiate on, apparently according to El Mattino and the negotiation side from Italy and what's been reported there, then really you could say they might be able to hold out for 63 million. So if United can negotiate Garnacho, take that 50 million, get Victor Osimhen through the door as well at the same time in the summer, then it's a win-win. You'll have money to buy players now and still have a guarantee that you've got a top target that a lot of clubs are going to be in for in the summer. Because let's be honest, if Osimhen doesn't go to United, you know he's going to be at a Champions League club next season. And if United can make this deal happen right now, and of course, Osimhen is willing to go, then and that's big on this as well. And I'm not forgetting the fact that Osimhen has to agree to United as well on this. And it's only what we're talking about, only what's being reported right now. But the options are there. If United can make it happen, it's only a big if. Like, you have got to maybe look at that. Because players, let's be honest, like, if United finish bottom half of the table, we're a million miles away, which we know we will finish this season now with what's going on. Unless we do spend Brewsters in January and we get a different team out on the pitch. But if you're a player and you're looking at United, this is the second season out of the Champions League. It will, in fact, look like if we don't get an FA Cup win or a Europa League win, we will have no European football at all next season. Now, that's a hard pill to swallow for any player coming in. If United can do deals and offer players certain, well, let's just say, incentives or try. Like, listen, I'm literally scraping the barrel. So where I like this deal and I think this is a good move for United, I don't know how they make it happen because I'm a realist and I look at the situation. If United don't win the FA Cup, if we don't win the Europa League, we've got no European football. And then you're competing with the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, City, and then all the top teams across Europe. For all of the best players, they'll want to play Champions League football. I've said this before. Only before have Manchester United been able to get these players in without European football. And people will come back and say to me, look, we still got Zlatan, we still got Pogba, we still attracted the best players because we paid them the bleeding world. And we know that Ineos are not going to do that now. So the circumstances going into this summer's transfer window are completely different to what we've faced before. We've always had at least Europe to offer these players. But this season's going in a certain direction right now where we could be out of Europe completely next season. Then when negotiating with players in the summer, where are we from that? Like, come and help us right now. Literally, that's what we're trying to do. But Osimhen is another one. Like, if we can guarantee him coming in the summer, and again, like, I just find it difficult. I like the deal. I would go with that if it meant Garnacho coming in. As long as Osimhen is fully on board with this, he has to be on board. He can't be forced into this at all. We need him firing on all cylinders. Can you bring Manchester United back? Can we negotiate something in that contract to say we're not back in Europe within a season? Then you can move on. Any form of Europe, that is. If we don't finish in the top 5 or stuff like that, then you can move on. There will be a release clause for you to go to a Champions League club or something like that. United have to be clever and savvy right now. And all eyes on Ineos, like I've said before. But when negotiations come to these players, United have to try and steal a match somehow. And where it might be the lesser players, like Dorgun wasn't spoken about too much. Obviously, under 21 player. You're not seeing much about Jorgeles, Ivor from Salzburg, players like this. And you can see the players we're already buying, like I've said on many of previous shows. What you've got to look at is Manchester United right now. If they want the best that they can get at the right price, deals like this definitely need to be thought about and negotiated in. And Osimhen is the best, one of the best of the best, I think, in this position right now. His market value is 75 million euros. That's where we're at. 63 million quid for Osimhen, I think, is fair value. It really is. He scores wherever he plays. He scores in the Champions League. He scores in the Europa. He scores at all of the top level competitions. And I feel like that's a deal. If United can make it happen in January, going into the summer, is something that we need to be looking at least looking at and trying to negotiate in. And if Napoli are happy to do that, and again, of course, if Victor Osimhen wants to make this happen, go with it. At least go with it until you seal off bleeding Dorgu. And then if it all fails with Garnacho and Napoli, at least we've got Dorgu in. So get over to Italy, which is what's happening right now. Get negotiating. Put your money on the bleeding table and get Dorgu through the door. You know that you've got room to move with Garnacho. You just need to make things happen for Ruben, like we've said before. But that's literally where we're at right now with the Osimhen one. There's nothing concrete. There's nothing that is there. But it is on the table and it is something that can be negotiated. But again, up to the finances, up to Garnacho actually leaving, which is no guarantee yet, up to Osimhen wanting the deal to happen, and of course Ruben Amorim if he wants Osimhen, because like we've always said, even the cheaper deals and the nice ones, and I'm not going to go over myself and completely contradict myself here with this, if Ruben doesn't want Osimhen, walk away. Simple as that. Trust in the manager, trust in the man that's in that dugout right now, because he is what we need running this football club, as we all know, and he needs the tools to use to get the best out of this system and what he wants. And if Osimhen isn't it, he isn't it. It's as simple as that. We move on. Simples. Anyway, let's get the chat on this. I know this is going to divide a lot of opinion. I'm probably going to get some abuse for this as well. But look, it's just there what's being reported from Italy, and we go with that. Osimhen on €192,000 a week. For anyone interested, will probably want a raise when he gets here. Though, is he worth it? You tell me in the chat. Is he worth more than 200 grand a week wages? I don't know. I think it's up to Ineos to make this happen. Look, sometimes if you're getting rid of... Look, this is the guy that puts numbers up. He puts numbers up. And obviously we will put clauses in contracts, especially with wages and stuff like that. And there will be bonuses, certain bonuses involved in Osimhen's contract, or anyone coming into United right now, because I think that's where Ineos are going to actually go with it. Stephen Brown, I'm not sure about Osimhen, but think he could have too much baggage like Pogba, Rashford and Sancho. Just think his character is not what we need. Well, that's up to United to decide, isn't it? And obviously Ruben. And like I said, Stephen, you're right in saying that. It isn't completely up to Ruben Amorim. Look, he is dealing with some real cabbage heads within that Manchester United dressing room right now, it would seem. And the footballing IQ is severely lacking. But one thing you will get from Victor Osimhen is full-on commitment. He does get brought up with baggage. He does a lot off the pitch for charity. He does a lot of work that people don't recognise as well. Fully committed to his international side as well. He just wants to play football. And a lot of the hate and a lot of the fallout was driven initially by Napoli in that fallout with the club in the playoffs. So we need to remember that as well. But yeah, if he doesn't fit with Amorim, he doesn't like his character, like Steven says, it's a no-goer. Simple as. You're dead right. And this is why I wanted to do this show, to gauge opinion on this. There are different things that could go completely wrong with this if we did make it happen. But I just look, at the moment, I think everything positive outweighs the negative with a move like this. I do think that we are going to struggle in the summer, and that's my biggest concern. With no European football, Touchwood United really, let's beat Rangers this week. God, just put ourselves in that knockout phase. And you know what? Anything can happen. But it's all on hope. There's nothing for any Manchester United fan to cling on to from what we're watching this season that's going to give us any confidence that we're actually going to be in Europe next season. I challenge anybody, apart from what we've had before, where we've managed to somehow win cup competitions while being crap in the league. And that's all we've got. So maybe there is an avenue out. I don't know. I'm not going to put everything on it. I'm not going to bank on it. Honestly, I just feel like where we're at right now as a football club is exactly where we deserve to be. And we have to just deal with the situation. I messaged my friend before and said, look, it's a season of pain for the long-term gain. And this is what I'm going to talk about when we get into the dressing room antics and what's actually going on with that at the moment as well. But yeah, in terms of everything else going on with Garnacho, just to bring you completely up to date, Napoli sporting director Giovanni Manna will sit down with Manchester United delegation in Italy today to discuss the terms of a deal for Alejandro Garnacho. Manna is ready to close the deal. Napoli want this done. Now, the preference for Garnacho, all of a sudden, that's come out is that he wants he wants to move to Napoli in January. If he is going to move in January, he wants to go to Napoli. And that's what's come out from El Mattino as well. That's what he wants to do. He wants to move. So Napoli understand Chelsea's stance on this. And Napoli know that Chelsea are significant in this. They are realistic bidders. Now, we talked about that this morning. We talked about what is happening with Chelsea's side of things on this. Whether or not they can afford Garnacho in January, I don't know. But word is that there's a few reports going around now about Napoli staff saying that they like the deal for Garnacho in January. But we're hearing one report here in El Mattino again saying Garnacho has told Manchester United that he only wants to join Napoli if he was to leave this month. So January is Napoli. Summer maybe Chelsea. I don't know. Right, but where we're actually at right now with the Garnacho situation is, and this was from Ben Jacobs earlier on today, he says, Napoli continue to push for Garnacho in a move driven by Antonio Conte. We spoke this morning about the video call that Fabrizio Romano has said that Antonio Conte and Alejandro Garnacho have had on the phone already, and Garnacho is happy to move. 2 offers placed to date, and they are closer to Manchester United's valuation now. Chelsea also considering a bid, knowing United may reluctantly sell at 59 million. So, if Chelsea came in, Chelsea would have to bid substantially higher than what Napoli are, and that's what we spoke about this morning. So the stance is there. If Garnacho is to go this month, the Italian side are saying that it is going to be Napoli, where the English side are saying Chelsea may still try and test the chest of his over Manchester United in January. So we will see on that. But everything is pushing towards Napoli right now. Chelsea are coming in. Garnacho is reportedly saying he prefers Chelsea. I don't know. We will see on this one. But Napoli are pushing very, very hard. And if there is any inkling that he wants to go Chelsea, does that automatically make Napoli push harder on this? And maybe the price goes up. Maybe United feel confident and they're going to guarantee what they want out of this deal for the valuation of Garnacho from Napoli. Like I said before, the option of Osimhen is being offered apparently, and they could look at that. If they don't, they don't. I'm not really bothered right now. I would love someone like Osimhen, but again, if they've got other plans and Ruben wants a different striker, so be it. That's what we go with, like we said before. But realistically, right now, Napoli are the favourites because United are in Italy talking to Napoli. Giovanni Manno, director at Napoli, wants to close the deal ASAP. Conte wants him in. So go and get him. Show us the money and let's see what comes of today. I feel like there will be a very big, significant update on this later on today. And I think that's what all Manchester United fans are really waiting for right now. Want to move across to the Marcus Rashford situation and where we're at with him right now and what's going on. We have a report in from Florian Plettenberg who says exactly this about Marcus Rashford. By the way, just before we get into the Rashford one, Fabrizio Romano has come out and completely poo-pooed the idea of Marcus Rashford going to Monaco. He has said it's Barcelona or Dortmund. They are the only players in play at this moment for Marcus Rashford. At this moment. I reiterate that, like this moment. That is the important thing to take from that. But Plettenberg from Sky Germany has said and brought a bit more detail to the situation with Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford remaining at United at the end of this transfer window is increasingly becoming a realistic scenario. So far, no financial agreement has been reached with Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan or Barcelona, but all teams are still pushing to sign him. His salary is expected to be around €10 million by the end of the season, unless the player agrees a pay cut. Again, it's all going down the same road with Marcus Rashford. Clubs are going to have to pay €10 million from now until the end of the season to get him in their squad. And that's something that clubs are just not willing to do. Now, that then leaves Manchester United. How much of that are you going to subsidise? Are you going to pay maybe 3/4 of it, half of it? Cut it in half, €5 million from now until the end of the season. Is that enough to get these clubs to the table? Is Marcus Rashford going to help this deal all along as well? personally, from what Marcus Rashford's people pushed last night through Ornstein and the other publications, BBC, MEN and the Daily Mail, about Marcus Rashford 100% being ready to play for United, that's all money driven. And I feel like that's Marcus Rashford basically coming out and saying, I'm not dropping my wages. Simple as. Otherwise, he would have gone and dropped his wages and made his move to play football. He's not going to do it. He's not. So it's up to United now. That's how I read it anyway. You don't have to take my word on that one. But you still got to look at everything else that's going on right now. And I think that pretty much says everything that you need to know in terms of Rashford's stance on this. But yeah, just to go over that again, just having a look through some other news there to make sure we've not missed out on anything. But yeah, just so you're up to date with the Rashford situation and where it's actually at. Romano has confirmed that there is no Monaco conversation for Marcus Rashford. Dortmund and Barcelona are favourites right now. Plettenberg has come out and said also that Manchester United are talking with Dortmund, are talking with Barcelona as well. AC Milan would come back if the deal came back on the table, but it looks unlikely right now. But it's all down to 10 million euros from now until the end of the season for Marcus Rashford. So who is willing to pay that money? Are United willing to pay it, or half of it, to get him out and out of the way of Ruben Amorim? That, I think, like we've said all along, is the most important thing on this. Super chat from Andy, second one of the live stream. Thank you very much. Hi Adam, I agree with you. Sell Garnacho 50 million cash. That gives us 250 million budget. We could then go for players like Gyökeres 60 million, Edison 50 million, Mendes 50 million, Frimpong 40, Simmons 50. Obviously, not all will come though. Yeah, well, that's it. The options there to get them players. Whether they want to come, Andy, or not is the other discussion, isn't it? It's like we've just said with Osimhen. He might not want to come to United. These players might not well come to United if we've got no European football next season. But at least the option's there. And then if not, what do you do? Tyler Dibbling. Players like this, you have to be clever with your recruitment. You could maybe get 7 or 8 players in rather than going out and buying 4 or 5. I don't like that format, I'm going to be honest. I'd rather buy best and keep it simple, 3 or 4 changes of really, really good players. I'm not saying Tyler's not. I would put him in that category of someone massively improving Manchester United. But I think we do need some out-and-out class acts and ready-made acts in that team. I would bust a gut to get Edison in Manchester United's side in that midfield. I really would. But yeah, it is all down to the players as well. I won't forget that. And that is something that needs to be remembered in all of this. United can get money from Garnacho, and we will have money to spend. But the players still have to agree to come to the club. And that's the killer in all of it. Let's get some more comments in, everybody. Get into the chat. Glyn says, hi Adam, what's the story about Garnacho? These rumours going around, United is pushing him out the club. The other people say he's not fitting in Amorim's system. Look, United are not pushing Garnacho out of Manchester United. It's as simple as that. Ruben Amorim is not... He's not liking him, let's just say. He's not liking him too much at the moment. That's all we can say. Honestly, for me, look, I think I said it before at the top of the show. He's laid out the law, and some players are falling short of it, and they're unhappy, I'm guessing. Otherwise, look, leave the club. They'd be playing week in, week out if it was working, if they were willing to put that effort in. Like I said, I'm at Carrington tomorrow, so it will be really good to see the mood around Carrington and what's actually happening right now. So really interesting reports coming out as well. But yeah, in terms of Carrington, in terms of training and players being at training, be interesting to see the members of the first team squad who are actually in there tomorrow. So I'll bring you that. But Luke Shaw apparently is back next week in training, if all goes well. If all goes well. The reports out about Luke Shaw are possibly back in training, first team training next week. So we could be looking at February for Luke Shaw's return on the pitch or matchday squad involvement, I would say. He is going to be nursed in and some, I think, Luke Shaw. Don't expect Luke Shaw to be running up and down that left-hand side for Manchester United in the next 3 weeks. They will have to look after him coming through like they have done before. and Ruben will not rush him through. You know Ruben's stance on players coming back from injury. Do we have any hope that Luke Shaw can put maybe 6 or 7 games together and find his fitness? No, we don't, because of what we've seen before. But we all have that hope inside us that Luke Shaw does come back and can find his fitness and is injury-free until the rest of the season. I reiterate the word hope, because that's all we've got. Because we know we're real, aren't we? That's what the debate is right now. We're real. We have to be honest with ourselves in all of this. You may not agree with my opinion. You may not agree with a person's opinion in the chat with you discussing it or disagreeing with you. It's what football debate is. What we can all come together and agree with is that this club is in a mess, and we are going to have to make some decisions that are going to upset a lot of the fan base. An awful lot of the fan base when it comes to players. Everyone's got their opinions, favourites, and what they see is right at this football club. I like Bruno, some people don't. Some people think Garnacho's being pushed out. I don't think he is. There's all sorts of different debates going on, isn't there? But one thing we all know is that this club has been run poorly under the Glazer ownership. We're in a complete mess. Ineos have come in with these bright ideas, thinking they're going to turn United around, and it's gone completely worse. But sometimes you have to really, really fall before you can come back up again. And you know what? There isn't any... From where we are now, is there any more that we can expect? Can it get any worse? Well, according to United Menace, one of our friends and mods of the channel, who does bring us news quite a lot actually, has said, and other sources have come to me and said, that the kickoff in the changing room after the weekend's game against Brighton was bigger than what was first reported. You've seen the reports. It's all over Twitter. It's all over X. Ruben Amorim went into the changing room full-on rage mode and was flipping tables, things being thrown, everything. Apparently, Manchester United players were in complete and utter shock at what was happening. And then, like we said it this morning, maybe he's gone into that press conference then with that in mind. Maybe all of a sudden, Manchester United have burst into action around transfers. Look, what people need to remember is in all of this, Ruben's gone and he's kicked off. Players don't like it. Everyone's fallen out. But this is the most significant movement and biggest decision that Ineos have made in sacking Ten Hag and bringing their man in. They want Ruben to work. If Ruben Amorim is to work at United, they have to be behind him, not what's happening in the changing room at Carrington and the players and what's being driven by agents. They have to be behind Ruben Amorim. So all of a sudden, bang, United are about to spend money. United are about to sell players. United are about to really move forward. But in this so-called fracas and incident within the changing room at Old Trafford at weekend, Ruben Amorim really, really apparently pissed off a lot of the players. Secretly, some of the players were really, really pissed off with him after what he said and what he's done. I'm guessing that is him having a go at them all. He's basically said, F off to the players if you're not willing to put the work in. This is what I was told. He basically said, look, if you're not willing to put the effort in and put the work in and work to what I want, then you can go. And all of a sudden, bang. And there's a lot of players within this squad that aren't happy. And then he goes into the press conference. And then we see the activity the day after in the transfer market. There's a lot that you need to put together. But my guess is on this, Ineos have realised that it isn't going to work with Ruben Amorim with this squad. Something has to give. Do we go back to the failings? Well, Ineos won't go that way because Sir Jim Ratcliffe won't let that happen. He's looked at the data. He's looked at everything. We've seen what he's said in reports. We've heard what he's said. We heard what he said to Andy Mitten in United We Stand fanzine. We've seen that interview. He has seen everything. He's comparing United to the levels of Fulham when it comes to ticket prices. He's comparing United's failings to teams at the bottom half of the table in terms of what performance we're actually getting out of them and what they're being paid. Look, he's not going to stand by and let someone who has come in with that whip, cracking it, and basically outing these players the way he has, when that's his whole motto, that's his whole ethos. It's everything about Sir Jim Ratcliffe. It's the hard hand. He does it in every single business. And if he's got someone who is coming and he's making crucial, big decisions and making ballsy decisions and doing what he's doing with this squad, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is going to be right behind him. And do you know what? On that side of things, I'm behind him as well. I like that. I like that, especially with the players. If you're going to do it with everyone else at Old Trafford, with all of the people that have worked there for years and cut the corners of the little people, then it's about time you back that up as well. And the only saviour you've got for this fan base being on side with anything that you say going forward from this point is if you act on the back of the players and what's happening. If they're underperforming, then they're the ones that have cost everybody else their jobs. It's as simple as that. The players have cost the staff at Manchester United. They have. Because of this underperforming. If United were in the Champions League, maybe Ines would have looked at this a different way. If we had the Champions League money flooding in, it might have been different. We might have had more staff. We might have been able to build certain different departments again that are still there, that could still be there at Manchester United. But no, what you're dealing with here is complete failure on the football pitch at a monumental level for Manchester United. And Ineos are going to come in and they're going to back Ruben Amorim. It's as simple as that. And I don't see any other outcome but from this being the change that everybody's been crying about and wanting at this football club. They just don't like what it's going to take to get there, which is completely writing off this season. I don't like it. I really don't. I don't want it to happen. I want players to come in January and us to win the Europa League and the FA Cup and get back up into the top half of the Premier League table. Will we get there? I doubt it. But that's what I want to see. That's what every United fan should want to see. And this is where we're at right now. 1600 in the room. Thank you, everybody. That is mega for a lunchtime show. And make sure you give the video a like. We're creeping up to the 300 live like mark. We do have another super chat in. I'm going to get into the comments now, everybody. You got Roz again. Absolute legend. Thank you for the super. I think the rot went all the way up from the players through to the top of the management. I blame the Glazers. Players got used to not putting full work in and being lazy, outlasting managers. Yeah, this is the culture at Manchester United. You got Roz. It is, and this is what we all know. Like, we don't need anybody to come out from United and tell us that the culture is wrong. You've seen the clip of Rio Ferdinand talking to Phil Jones about ringing Rooney up and saying, what's going on? He's seeing Lingard and Pogba dancing around in changing rooms when you're sixth in the league. What about now? Oh God, that was when we were six and actually in the Europa League. Jesus, God, what happens now? Who do we go to now? Wow. Here's another one from TalkSport, Alex Crook as well. Manchester United have told club ambassadors, including Brian Robson, Dennis Irwin and Andy Cole, they will have their salaries slashed. Oh no, Ineos. Oh, you can't defend you. I didn't know about this news, and it's just come out right now. Check this out. Alex Crook from TalkSport has just come out and said this. I'll just say it all over again. Manchester United have told club ambassadors, including Brian Robson, Dennis Irwin, Andy Cole, legends of this football club that do a lot of work for this football club, an awful lot of work for this football club. I know that. I've been to the events. And they have been told by Ineos now that their salaries are going to be slashed. Oh, where do we go from there with Ineos? Like, everything I've just said, like the hard hand and everything like that, and getting rid of these players. And then this news just pops up just as I'm talking about that. And it's like, I can't win. I can't argue for them at all. Like, there's things that they're doing right now that should be done once everything else is sorted. Players first, Ineos. This is why you're slashing jobs. This is why you're slashing salaries. You're slashing it all and cutting all of these corners because the players are failing the football club. It's as simple as that. Glazers have allowed people to run this club that have allowed agents to come in to basically run Manchester United and do what they want. It's freaking unbelievable. Oh, God, in Bennett. Right, here's an interesting one transfer-wise, just going through everything in terms of what's happening right now. This is nothing, there's like Romano is talking about something that happened last night in the Wolves game. Get your comments in on the slashed salaries of the United legends and ambassadors, but quickly, because I wanted to cover everything in one show as well. I will be back later on this evening as well at 6:30 normal time, everyone, so don't worry with every other bit of news, but we like to cover everything. But this is something that is going to start bubbling a little bit, but I don't know if you all picked up on what happened last night in the Chelsea and Wolves game, but Cunha's situation from now to the end of January remains one to watch, says Fabrizio Romano. There was a fallout last night, and Victor Pereira's post-match words last night were very, very strong on his so-called captain, Matheus Cunha. New deal not formally signed yet, as reported 2 days ago. Clubs showing interest, with Arsenal still keen, and not only Arsenal, he's saying there as well. Honestly, right now, when you look at it, there is all sorts of things going on, possibilities in the transfer. If United could snatch Cunha, if we got rid of Garnacho, brought in Dorgu, got Cunha, we're moving. We are moving. But again, there's a player there that's had a bit of an attitude problem. And is this the type of player that we want? Questions there, isn't it? I don't know. We'll see. I'll cover that. If anything else comes of it, then we'll get into it. But there is an attitude problem there anyway. It might even be earlier tonight with the show in terms of what time we kick off. Obviously, there's football on, so we may be going at 6 o'clock tonight, everybody, just so you're aware. Keep, obviously, your notifications on. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so you are aware of what is coming up content-wise. I'm going to get into the chat now before we finish up to give you your chance and have your say. Anthony says, it's about bloody time these players were told exactly what they are. More power to Ruben. This has been a long overdue. Players have been protected for years. No responsibility to perform the main issue. Definitely. Brett says the players won the trophy last season, which the majority of this chat mock, even though it stopped a City double. Look, winning any trophy is big for United. We've got to just look at where we should be as a football club. I think that was the argument with that. I think reality right now is that Manchester United is in a needs-must situation, isn't it? And that, I think, is why we're talking about the FA Cup being so important right now. It is an avenue back in to the Europa League. And United being out of Europe is an absolute disaster. Never mind the Champions League, but completely out of Europe, that is a complete disaster for this football club. It really is. The matchday revenues and everything that's brought into Manchester United and the money that United could use. Honestly, if we're not in Europe, then there does need to be a complete exodus of players in the summer. All gone. They will recoup some money from not being in the Europa League by just getting rid of wages. That are like Casemiro, Eriksen, Lindelof, all of these players that are leaving. Johnny Evans, Tom Heaton. It may seem small, it may seem like the lesser players, but all of them wages together will save Manchester United an absolute fortune in money a year. And that's how we're going to have to balance things. You're going to have to introduce players on less wages, youth players. You're going to have to get rid of the crap. I mean, a lot of United fans won't have a problem with that anyway right now, but still. I like Garnacho, but if not fitting in the system, then why keep him? Where we can get what 200 million to spend if he goes. That's the point. I think that's what we're all looking at right now. Slashing club ambassadors is pointless. Ineos don't get it. What about the players on the pitch? They are crap. Exactly. Like, obviously, we're expecting Anthony to leave as well very soon. He is already making tracks to Seville to sign his contract with Real Betis. We talked yesterday about his contract situation and what Manchester United have in that as well. Manchester United, I think Betis will pay less than half of that salary, but United will have bonuses for positions finished for Betis. So he is gone. That is a little bit of money off the books going into the end of this financial year. We're expecting Malacia to follow suit. What will happen with Xerxes and Højlund, I don't know from that report from ESPN yesterday. But the main things right now is Garnacho is the one and the key for Manchester United actually doing business the other way this window. And that is bringing players in. That is the key for it. And anything that is going to happen from now until the end of the window. There's a lot to keep an eye on. There really is. There's a lot going on. And tonight, we will be completely up to date with everything. I expect things to happen this afternoon. If anything really significant breaks, I'll be all over it. Obviously, breaking news will be on it. I'll be back around about 6 o'clock before the football this evening as well with your full Manchester United update. But for now, everybody, thank you so much to all of the mods helping out in the chat. Everyone in the chat, please do get your comments in after the live is finished. Try and keep it respectful. Don't absolutely abuse me. It's not nice. I can take it, but like, come on, like, I understand there's context to everything. And I do try to bring facts and context to every headline that we talk about and bring up the sources that bring them as well. Not just the HP. That's a joke. Silly. Sorry. Anyway, thank you, everybody. All contributors within the chat today. You got Raws and with yours as well. Thank you. And obviously, yeah, it was just them two. Andy, who has just become a member as well. Thank you, mate. Love that. And that is it, everyone. Thank you. Make sure you get your comments in. Give the video a like on the way out. Hit the subscribe button alongside the bell notification, and you will be completely up to date with everything going on at United. I promise you that.